Welcome to episode 34 of the Other Star franchise, the anti-fascist Star Wars podcast where a couple of Trekkies from the Star Trek fandom discuss Star Wars. We are currently watching a lot of the Star Wars shows, movies, and animation in chronological order, leading up to the release of the Mandalorian and Grogu movie coming to theaters Friday. Today we are discussing Season 3 of The Mandalorian. We are in the year 9 ABY when, man, like, so much fucking shit happens in 9 ABY, right? Like, all 3 seasons of Mandalorian and Book of Boba Fett, and apparently Ahsoka and Skeleton Crew and this new movie too. So, I don't know. Maybe one day we'll get, like, a more detailed version of the timeline, like I don't know, like maybe like Ahsoka and Season 3 of Mando happen at the same time, or like, you know, something like that. But this is the final season of the Mandalorian. I don't think they're planning on doing any more. They're like, we're gonna do movies if we're gonna do anything with these characters. But something we were discussing about Season 3 of The Mandalorian, it's the one that the fans seem to not like as much as the last 2 seasons, you know, and I titled this podcast episode, The Mandalorian Season 3, Better Than We Remember, ? Lady the Cat is commenting on that too, but I don't know where she falls on The Mandalorian Season 3, but yeah, the fandom did not seem to accept this season as kind of like universally, wholeheartedly, it seemed, as like the first 2 seasons. Yeah. So, but I remembered, you know, mostly liking it. I remembered, like, there were some things that I didn't think were quite as good as the first 2 seasons, but then rewatching it here now, it's like, oh, it's still quite good. Honestly, watching all this other Star Wars, if anything, I like Mandalorian Season 3 now. I think, yeah, this is my favorite live-action Star Wars TV show that's not Andor and not Mando Seasons 1 and 2. Like, this is basically the 5th best season of live-action Star Wars. Like, I like this more than I remember liking Ahsoka. Like, I like the Ahsoka show, but there's, I don't know, it's just kind of dull to me. Maybe I'll be more plugged into it now. Mm-hmm. And it certainly wasn't bad. I'm honestly quite stoked to start watching it and return to it. I am so invested in the character of Ahsoka now, but I think I'm probably gonna still prefer Mando Season 3 over Ahsoka, and I don't know, maybe Skeleton Crew is gonna win me over, but I think, yeah, like, this is pretty damn good Star Wars. Like, I have a few issues here and there, but I don't know, if there's someone who, like, oh, I think Lucas is a genius, and I love Attack of the Clones and his prequel movies, and, like, to me, like, that is better Star Wars than this Jon Favreau, Dave Filoni show, The Mandalorian. It's just like, we have totally different values as audience members. Yeah. But I'm looking forward to diving into the season in more detail as we go through these episodes. But Taylor, what about you? Have any, our friends on the salon, they call, so like, you know how on TEX-TREK we do like opening statements? It almost sounds like we're in a courtroom. You're like, give your opening argument. Our friends on the salon, another Star Trek podcast that streams live on YouTube, I encourage people out there to check out. But they call these top thoughts, the thoughts they say in the front. But, you know, they like to make everything kind of gay and kinky over there. So it's like top thoughts, like top versus bottom. I don't know if they have like bottom thoughts at the end or what. That's funny. But yeah, that's our friends at the salon. But yeah, so Taylor, what would be your opening statement / top thoughts on the Mando Season 3?
Yeah, I think this season is not my favorite. I don't think it's bad. I think individually each episode is good. But I really struggle, like, remembering everything that happens in this season. Like, it feels like everything is either, like, a little, like, maybe it's like there's too much going on a little bit for me, that it's hard for me to keep up and remember all the things that had happened. It almost feels like everything is, like, big. So, like, I don't really know. Like, we can deep dive into each one, but there's a lot that I do really love. Like, I like having Bo-Katan fleshed out more and, like, kind of get some resolution on her side of the story. And her getting some revenge and, like, find her space again as, like, the bringing together of a bunch of people. I guess I found it a little tropey, too. Like, a lot of it kind of felt predictable. And I mean, I also don't really know if I needed Moff Gideon to come back. Like, I think that was kind of like a, oh, we don't really know what to do for the big bad kind
Right.
of thing. We'll just bring him back. But I mean, I get that Bo had like unresolved stuff with him too. So like, in some ways it's smart that he came back, but in other ways it was a little lame for me. But yeah, I think I also still, and this will take me years and years to get used to, but I also struggle identifying like the different subsets of Mandalorians. And so like sometimes like when they're like all grouped together and stuff and like they're having their beef, like sometimes I'm like, okay, this one was Death Watch, but Death Watch isn't a thing anymore. That got dissolved, so these are like a cult of a branch of a Death Watch branch. And then like, oh, these are the Mandalorians that served under Maul. These are the Mandalorians that served with Bo. Like there's just so many factions of them that in some of these episodes it feels a little bit clunky when because I'm just having to
lose track of who's who. What are your motivations? Are you allowed to take your helmet off? But
and I don't think that's like a failing on the right. It might just be a failing on my memory, but I think that like I think when you have stuff like that, when it gets muddy, and I think it's really hard to do like storytelling like this when you have everyone like kind of looks the same, like they all are wearing like the same forged helmet shape, you know, and they have slight variation in colors and stuff, but it's not like some of them, like obviously like the bigger characters have like identifying like weapons or signets and colors or weapons, I don't know, but for the most part they all kind of look the same. So, I don't know. I wish they had a little bit more individuality so you could, like, kind of tell them apart easier, I guess.
Yeah. I guess we don't get that many named Mandalorians other than Pav Vizsla. I guess the Armorer is technically not named. Yeah. I don't know if we ever get a name for that character. Maybe the reference material might, but... you know, originally Pav Vizsla was heavy infantryman, I think, in the captions. But yeah, big thoughts on him coming up, by the way. But Miss Taylor, we can go ahead and get things started talking about season 3 episode by episode. If anyone out there is watching a video format of this podcast, you should be able to see our spreadsheet on screen where we check off the big ass list of Star Wars, almost said Star Trek, of Star Wars episodes and movies we've been watching in chronological order as we prepare for The Mandalorian and Grogu. And starting with the premiere of Season 3, Chapter 17, The Apostate. Taylor, tell us what happens.
The Armorer and a group of Mandalorians hold a ceremony to induct a young child, Ragnar Vizsla, into the tribe. The ceremony is interrupted when a dinosaur turtle attacks the Mandalorians. The clan initially fails to defend themselves, but they are saved by Din Djarin and Grogu, who have been reunited. The Armorer confirms that if the mines of Mandalore still exist, Djarin may become a Mandalorian once more. Djarin travels to Navarro to meet High Magistrate Greef Karga. Djarin helps Karga stave off a group of pirates led by the pirate Vane. Karga offers Djarin the position of marshal, but Djarin refuses, stating that he came to rebuild IG-11. Djarin successfully revives IG-11, but the droid defaults to his original violent programming. Djarin brings the parts to a group of Anzellan mechanics who tell him that they need a new memory core to repair the droid. As Djarin leaves Navarro, the pirate crew, led by Vane's superior, Gorian Shard, attacks his ship, but Djarin escapes. Djarin meets with Bo-Katan Kryze in an old Mandalorian castle on Kalevala, who reveals that after losing the Darksaber, she has abandoned her plans to reclaim Mandalore and tells Djarin to travel there alone. Well, I kind of hate this like pirate subplot. Like, I feel like we should just leave Navarro alone and let them be happy. Like, they've already had so much drama in season 1 and 2.
I really liked the notion of every time we go to Navarro, we see, like, the community is doing better.
Yeah. And it kind of sucks that in this one it's like, I really liked the scene where Grief Karga tells the pirates that they can't drink at the school because it's not a bar anymore. Like, I think that works. But them, like, going to get their ship and it being a pirate fight, like, and that comes up in another episode. Like, there's, like, another pirate fight, you know? And I just feel like that was kind of unnecessary. Like, it'd be kind of nice to just have, like, Navarro be, like, the safe haven now, you know?
The Imperial remnants didn't want there to be a safe haven
they
there.
did not.
We eventually find out that the Imperials are, I guess, funding or encouraging these pirates to attack Navarro. But it's an interesting place to open the show because I do feel like season 2, as we mentioned when we covered it, that would have been like a really good ending. And I didn't, I always said I don't need to see a big arc with the Mando and with Grogu. I liked them best when we didn't know shit about them. We didn't even know their names. It's just the Mandalorian. We don't know what his name is, and it's just like this Baby Yoda looking thing. We don't know what his name is. But Mando and the kid, they're on the run from bounty hunters. They're on the run from these Imperials. They're going to get in some wacky shenanigans on this planet. They're going to have to do a job here. They're going to have to fix their ship over here. They're going to have to escape from ice spiders this week. They're going to be dealing with something else next week. That was my favorite part of the show. And then when they did start tying it into the larger Star Wars universe and bringing in Boba Fett and Bo-Katan and Luke Skywalker, I feel like they did most of that stuff pretty well. And, seeing Grogu go off, like seeing Din Djarin go through that arc of like learning to like open up and that like, oh, it actually can be healing when you take off your armor and be a little vulnerable and let someone heal you. Like he learned that at the end of season 1, and then it actually like not just, okay, you've learned the lesson, now apply the lesson at the end of season 2. And it was like a perfect little arc.
Yeah.
And he said like, hey, we'll meet again. And I could have just, had that as the ending.
Yeah.
But Disney is going to milk this cash cow till the cows come home. I'm kind of mixing analogies there, but
yeah.
But anyways, so they come to season 3 and they're like, okay, so let's actually do a big Mandalorian arc. And I almost kind of feel like there are all these fans who could, like all the episodes I liked in season 1 and 2, a lot of fans would call them, oh, those are filler episodes. They didn't, because people are so used these days to, modern TV telling like these big serialized arcs. And I'm like, I love a good one and done story. When you just tell like a self-contained story and 40, 50 minutes, do it in less than that, I'm even more impressed. A lot of people would complain about the short run times of these Mandalorian episodes. I guess there's people that are just like less busy than me and have more time to watch this, but they start up season 3 and they're like, okay, we're going to do like a big return to Mandalore. Let's retake the planet. Let's actually make this a Mandalorian show about serious Mandalorian stuff. And I almost kind of feel like, hey, that's what people were asking for. Like you didn't want filler episodes, so okay, here's like a season that's all about like big important Mandalorian stuff. But I guess like the season opens with, you see that there's a lot of Mandos in the new colony hiding in those caves.
At Lake Powell.
Yeah, you pointed out like, oh, it's like an obvious real life Earth location.
Yeah.
It's like, that is kind of lame. Like Star Wars should be super exotic, But there's like that baptism ceremony at the beginning when you eventually find out that Foundling is Pab Vizsla's son. He's been like adopted as his son. Yeah, they go to Navarro. We find out that Cara Dune was promoted out of the show.
Yep.
Because she was played by a transphobic actor. There's that IG-11 stat. I guess he goes there because, okay, Din is now on a mission. He's like, I got to go to Mandalore to redeem myself. And I do feel like that's kind of regression for the character because, like, no, I think you actually grew when you learned to open up and take your helmet off. I guess we never see Pedro Pascal's face this entire season.
Yeah.
I just now realized that. Like, was he ever there in season 3?
I don't think so.
Is this all Brendan Wayne and the other guy, the stunt double guy? Yeah, maybe he just phoned it in. Like literally phoned it in. Like did like his lines on the phone.
Maybe.
Interesting. But yeah, so I do feel like that's like a little forced. The like, oh well, you have to go like redeem yourself on Mandalore. I do like how they eventually pay off that stuff with Bo-Katan's story is really the heart of the show here.
Yeah, this is The Mandalorian Season 4, The Book of Bo-Katan.
Yeah, we were saying that Boba Fett, that should have been Mando season 3, the Book of
Yeah.
Boba Fett. They always could have done this as like season 1 is the Book of Din Djarin.
Yeah.
Season 2 is the Book of Grogu.
Right.
Season 3 is the Book of Boba Fett.
Exactly.
And then season 4 is the Book of Bo-Katan.
Yeah, that's my headcanon now. I refuse to see it differently. Because you can't watch Season 2 of The Mandalorian and then go straight into Season 3 because you're like, wait, he just got rid of that kid and now the kid's back? Like, what happened there?
Yeah.
And so it's like, oh, you have to watch the Book of Boba Fett, The Return of the Mandalorian, at least, and see Grogu come back together with Din Djarin before you can even watch Season 3 of The Mandalorian.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to edit all the Boba Fett stuff together and, like, do that in chronological order.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this all begins with, like, Boba coming out of the Sarlacc pit, and then he does his Sand People stuff, and then you have, like, The Mandalorian Season 1, and then, like, between Season 1 and Season 2, you do, like, the Boba Fett and Fennec Shand meet each other and team up, and then you go into all the Season 2 stuff, and then all the rest of the Boba Fett stuff, and then here into Mando Season 3. But yeah, his mission to go to Mandalore, I guess, is what really kicks things off. And when they discover, like, oh, maybe the planet's not as poisoned as we thought, and we can go back. But that's what pushes him to go back to Navarro, because he needs a droid. And I guess he thought IG... To be fair, the last time he saw IG-11 destroyed, he was, like, rebuilt and repaired. So he just needed a really talented Ugnaught, I guess, and didn't have one.
Yeah.
But I like the stuff that happens in the... I guess the next episode is when they're actually, like, in the mines. So, but it was nice to see, you know, Navarro doing well, and I liked the... I didn't mind the pirate action. I kind of liked the... It was a Hammerhead Corvette that was repurposed as the pirate ship,
Yeah.
right? That's kind of cool. But let's move on to Chapter 18, The Mines of Mandalore.
Djarin visits Peli on Tatooine in search of a new memory chip for IG-11. She does not have one, but instead sells him R5-D4. Djarin, Grogu, and R5 fly to Mandalore, where Djarin orders R5 to scout ahead and ensure that the atmosphere is non-toxic. When R5 does not return, Djarin ventures after it and is attacked by several Alamites, a native troll-like species living in the caves. Heading deeper into the mines, Djarin is captured by a cyborg creature and sends Grogu for Bo-Katan's help. Bo-Katan rescues Djarin and kills the cyborg before leading Djarin to the living waters. Djarin immerses himself to restore his status as a Mandalorian, but a sudden drop-off causes him to sink deep into the water. Bo-Katan dives in to save him. On the way back up, she comes face to face with a mythosaur.
So I like this episode. I like the scary Mandalore caves. I like that there's like these troll monsters that live there. I didn't realize that they were native to Mandalore. That's kind of, I thought there might have been something like moved in after the Mandalorians moved out, like something that can survive in the poison. I guess they can if they're still alive there. But I thought like the cyborg thing that captures Din Djarin was cool. I like that it's so creepy and so mysterious. They don't reveal much about it. Like Star Wars used to be like really weird. Where like, oh, you're on the Death Star rescuing the princess, and then you're in the trash compactor, and there's this like Cyclops tentacle monster in there attacking you. It's just like this weird random stuff that shows up like that.
Mm-hmm. Well, in 46 years, we may have a limited series on this cyborg. You never know.
Yeah, they're just gonna demystify everything eventually.
But yeah, this cyborg gave General Grievous for me a lot. Like this, like kind of creepy little cyborg. Like I don't know, very army.
For some reason, I kind of think of it. It's almost kind of like a fairy tale monster. It's like the witch in Hansel and Gretel that's gonna capture you and gobble you up. You know, there's something I kind of associate with this kind of like primal, uh, just like I don't know, being like a little kid out in the woods and you're worried like a wolf is gonna come eat you. You know, just
Yeah.
there's a certain kind of like primal fear about being in a uh, isolated. You're like the only person in the wilderness, and there's this creature that might be after you. Uh, but I liked Grogu having to go back and get Bo-Katan. She's hanging out at her in her throne room on that moon, Kalevala, whatever it's called.
Yeah.
Uh, our friend Dave told me that when this episode aired, a lot of people made the joke that she was just bored sitting on her throne waiting for something to do.
That's kind of the vibe you get. She seems really pissed whenever Jaren like comes there the first time and asks for her help, and she's just like chilling on the throne,
Yeah.
like feet kicked up.
I'm showing Taylor a meme of the Emperor sitting in his throne on the Death Star in Return of the Jedi, and then a picture of Bo when she has her leg hanging off the edge of her throne, and it says the Will Smith line from Men in Black. You know the difference between you and me? I make this look good. but yeah, she definitely has like a better energy about sitting on the throne and commanding, I guess. But yeah, she's basically saying like it really sucks that I didn't come back with the Darksaber, or else everyone would be following me right now. But I guess that's her big grievance in the season. It's like I'm not popular enough. I need help to be more popular. And then the Mando and Grogu and the Armorer help to. They make her the more popular girl that now everyone's gonna follow her. So
Yeah.
it's like a story like the gal who just wanted to be popular and well liked and like become like the prom queen or whatever. But she actually earns it, I guess. But
In the mine stuff, I did like her coming like immediately to help. Like I think that kind of redeems some of her like sassiness from the first episode. For me, is like she sees this kid and she's like, God damn it, I gotta do something. Like I like that she's still action oriented and cares to save people,
But
when
yeah,
she can.
I feel like most people, if they saw like someone they knew, like their kid, just like drove the car over to ask, like, well, fuck, I guess it is
I
pretty
gotta go
serious.
deal with
Yeah,
that.
like
Yeah, so
so it must be pretty bad if they had to send the kid driving the ship.
Yeah, and
Go ahead.
well, so I was going to talk about so they like she rescues him and like later this comes up that she technically defeated the cyborg, so technically the Darksaber at this point does belong to her. But then they go to the Living Waters together, which I think is sweet that she's like talking about her like the last time she'd been down there was for like a ceremony with her father
Right,
and
she
stuff.
was part of the royal family.
Yeah, that was all really cool to hear her talk about that. But one thing that drives me crazy in this episode is when Jaren does like start walking into the water and then like he immediately sinks and it cuts to like I don't know, like 40-foot depths. And I'm like, what the heck? Like did they just have stairs and then the stairs just like ended and then went that far? And the reason, like, did he get grabbed and like sucked in? Or was it just like his Beskar armor is so fucking heavy in water, he just sank like a rock?
That's just the physics of the Star Wars universe.
So,
it
we
works
don't know.
a little different.
But I thought that was kind of funny. Like, he's just like hanging out, about to do his little ceremony thing, and he's just like sucked in. I was like, wow.
I also feel like sending Grogu to go get help. That's very like but the R2D2 R2D2 go.
What was that?
R2 come home. I think it's like Lassie comes home or something. But anyways, yeah. But it's similar to that. I should also say that I did not watch these episodes when they first released in March of 2023. I watched them a few months later after Taylor and I met. Actually, I watched these episodes, I think, on November 18th, 2023. I didn't watch the Mando Season 3 until Taylor came over to my place and we watched this first episode together. So it's actually the first piece of any TV show or movie or anything that we watched together. So
I don't remember if I had watched it before.
you had.
I had. Okay, I guess I watched.
You
it
had
when it
already
came
seen
out.
all of this. Yeah, we watched this together, and then we watched Ahsoka together. 'Cause
And
I
I'm
hadn't
pretty
seen
sure my complaint, I was like, I don't remember anything that happened. And I was like, so I need to watch it all over again.
Your complaint was that it was too many side quests. But I feel like all of these side quests kind of tie into like this bigger story to like free Mandalore. I mean, like right now it's just like I got to go to Mandalore to redeem myself for taking my helmet off. And then he's like, well, shit, I got to get a droid before I can go to Mandalore. So I guess it does have like a lot of that. But yeah, so he gets the droid, he gets to Mandalore, he gets in trouble, Bo-Katan gets him out. But, you know, as a consequence, she goes through the baptism process. She has her helmet on when they escape. I'm ready to move on to the next episode.
And she saw the Mythosaur. Don't forget that.
Oh, yeah, I actually had that in my... That was the only thing in my notes that I put for Chapter 18, actually, is Mythosaur spotted.
Yeah.
And I didn't even point that out, the one thing I wrote in my notes. But yeah, it's cool that she's... And she doesn't tell Din Djarin about it immediately either. She doesn't... She's like, did you see anything down there? And he's like, no. And then
no
she's like,
one's
oh,
gonna
me neither,
believe
yeah.
me, is what she's thinking.
But when she tells the armor, it's just kind of fun to see, like, you know, maybe the armorer really believes, like, oh, this must be Bo-Katan's destiny. Or maybe the armorer just sees, like, you know what, this would make a good destiny. Like, this is a story we can sell to people. And is, you know, I don't want to say, like, opportunistic, but just...
Well, she says that. She says it's basically like, you know, I think with this, you could bring people together. Later, she says that. But
yeah, so...
you want to do the convert?
Yeah, let's move on to Chapter 19, The Convert. Tell us what happens.
After Djarin recovers, he and Bo-Katan depart Mandalore though Bo-Katan withholds the Mythosaur's existence from him. Upon returning to Kalevala, they are attacked by Imperial TIE Squad who destroy Bo-Katan's home and are forced to retreat. On Coruscant, Dr. Pershing receives a pardon by the New Republic, but is startled to find Elia Kane.
Oh, that's her name.
I don't remember. Elia?
Yeah, the mean Imperial girl.
Yeah, with a cool haircut. A former communications officer who was a part of Moff Gideon's Imperial Remnant among the amnesty program's recipients. Kane agrees to assist Pershing in his efforts to continue his cloning research, which has been outlawed by the Republic. They sneak aboard a decommissioned Imperial-class Star Destroyer to steal the necessary materials, but Kane betrays Pershing to the Republic's lawkeepers and later secretly sabotages the mind-wiping procedure used on him. Meanwhile, Djarin and Bo-Katan arrive at the secret Mandalorian enclave at Lake Powell, where Djarin presents the armorer with a sample of the living waters as proof of his redemption. Because she has also bathed in the waters, Bo-Katan is welcomed to the enclave as well.
I love that, by the way, when Din Djarin shows up, and I just love, like, the scripting in that. I guess this was Noah Clore working with Jon Favreau on the script here, or at least lets you get credit for this episode. But when Din Djarin explains, like, I've, you know, been to the mines, I've cleansed myself in the waters, and just the way that their dialogue's phrased when Pop Vizsla is like, that's impossible, our planet is poisoned, or whatever he says, and then Din says something like, those were lies made to keep us away from our home, and then Pop Vizsla is like, how do we know that it is not you who is the liar? That's kind of love, like, that formality to it all.
Yeah.
But, yeah, so, I think this episode puts Bo-Katan in a really interesting spot, you know? It's,
yeah.
We've seen her go through so much you would never think it either from Clone Wars. It's just like, oh, that's one of the bad guy Mandalorians. That's one of the mean Mandalorians that's part of Death Watch. And then here she becomes like this super compelling character.
Yeah.
I don't know about like super compelling, but compelling.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it puts her in a very interesting situation where she is like, hey, if I wanted to be in with the radical fundamental Mandalorians. And I realize now, I don't know if this really clicked the first time, or I might have forgot it watching season 3 previously. But the Foundling thing, that's more of what the hardcore fundamental Mandalorians, like, they're the ones who, like, you know, it's not a race, it's a creed. but the kind of the old school Mandalorians that we saw on the actual planet of Mandalore and Pre Vizsla as the head of Death Watch, he was kind of like oh, it's about like the Mandalorian lineage. You know, like it was very important to them. So it's interesting that the people who believe in like the foundling culture, they really embrace like, oh no, we are like we follow the Bible by the letter. Like if it says you don't eat shellfish, then we do not eat shellfish.
They're like Old Testament
yeah,
people.
yeah, they're but it's because you know they're probably trying to make up for the fact that like we're not the descendants, we're not like the blood descendants of the planet Mandalore. We're the people who take the creed. So like when they take it, like they really fucking take it, you know, like you cannot question their devotion to Mandalore. Like because they make it their entire fucking identity.
Yeah.
That's really interesting to me, that kind of social divide. So I kind of like that they explore that stuff. But the main core of this episode is the Pershing stuff, right?
Yeah, this takes up like 90% of the episode.
And it is the longest Mandalorian episode ever. It is it's still under an hour. It's 59 minutes on Disney Plus, even you know with like all the 5 minutes of credits at the end. But yes, 59 minutes. That's the longest one out of all 3 seasons.
Crazy. But yeah, that stuff is I don't know. I like in some ways I think it's interesting, but in other ways I think this is another one of those stories that I was like, what does this have to do with the bigger picture?
Yeah.
Like Elia Kane or whatever like comes up like one more time in this series and she's just giving intel to Moff Gideon. Like and it's just weird. It's like why did she get put there? Who planted her there? What was the bigger picture of this? Like is it just to find Dr. Pershing and kill him and mind wipe him? Like was that the only reason? And like this poor guy was like completely ready to just like reassimilate and then like had all this like pressure from Moff Gideon's plans.
Well, it is a good bit of world building to tell us about the New Republic.
Yeah, I did like all of that. That was really interesting to see, like, oh, how do we reintegrate Imperial people? Like, because not everyone who was working for the Empire probably believed what the Empire wanted. It was just like a paycheck.
Yeah, like, well...
or like a way to get out of a bad situation or something. But even still...
There's a lot of real life history in it. Like, it has a lot... It's very much... Operation Paperclip. I don't know if you've heard about that, but so basically after World War II, the Nazi Germany had a lot of talented people that were like well trained in a lot of professions, and a lot of them went to work for Allied governments, and the United States brought a lot of them over. What was his name? The von Braun guy at NASA. But he kind of was like the first... He was kind of like the Carl Sagan or the Neil deGrasse Tyson of his time. In the 50s and 60s, he would like go on TV and explain like, oh yeah, we're going to be able to land on the moon with these modular spaceships. You have a rocket that goes up, and then you send another module to the moon, and then that sends another module down to land. And he was like the science communicator, but he was an ex-Nazi. So it's very much like that with like Dr. Pershing. It's very Operation Paperclip.
Yeah.
And we did the same thing in World War II. Like we brought like a lot of war criminals out of the Japanese military into. But I mean, and you also have like a good point about like there's just like a lot of like normal I guess German dudes who got drafted or whatever, and like I mean it's easy for me to say like, well, yeah, they shouldn't have fucking served. Like I wouldn't go serve for the United States right now with the shit that we do.
Yeah.
But like the people who are, I was like, yeah, like I think the United States is currently engaged in war crimes. Like we just bombed little girls' schools in Iran, and then came back 20 minutes later and bombed the ambulances, and then came back 20 minutes later and then bombed like the next wave of ambulances. Like pretty fucking evil shit. Some rando kid who's like serving on a Navy ship right now. Like do I think he needs to be like put on like Nuremberg trials, like in prison for the rest of his life? Like, no. Right. So there's like a degree of separation there. Right. And like, yeah, like, where does Pershing fall into that? And it's a very interesting kind of nuanced thing to examine. But I kind of, I like that the show is willing to go there, but it's kind of territory. It's like, Andor explores this stuff kind of
Yeah.
better. It'd be kind of cool to see kind of a post-Empire Andor type show.
Yeah.
This is kind of like, this episode kind of comes off as like Andor for fifth graders. It's kind of like, let's like dumb it down and play everything very broad so that like, like the kids get it, so that like, the grandma who's like half watching while she's playing some game on her phone, like she'll get it. It's they play everything like very broad, and like Star Wars has been very broad. I mean, this is kind of how the politic stuff in Clone Wars happen. It's very Clone Wars.
I think this is also a really good example of showing how easy people can be manipulated, like even when they're super smart like this. Like he's a doctor in cloning and stuff, and like she like within like 2 or 3 days gets him to completely like under like reassimilate. Like he was like fully reassimilated. He was like wanting to do his part.
I love
like
also that she didn't go like, oh, I have to be like real sexy and seductive to kind of like,
she was like talk like go do your cloning research.
Yeah.
Like isn't that like your whole life's calling? Like if the Republic isn't letting you do that, then
she like weaponized like his hyper focuses against him. Like, you know what, man? Like you're a cloner. You love cloning. Don't you want to help by cloning?
And also like the Republic is so stupid for not like at least putting people like this in some kind of because like it's kind of like when you're a kid, or maybe not everyone's family is like this, but like when I was a kid, my mom would be like, well, if you're gonna drink, we'd rather you drink at home. I feel like the Republic should be like that with cloning. It'd be like, well, if you're gonna want to be cloning, like at least come clone research with us under our super strict eyeballs so we know what you're doing, Like,
so you're saying they should have like brought him in more, like had him like incorporated into normal society better. I mean, that would have that would have prevented this problem.
And, like, we even see him, like, talk at the podium, and he's like, well, the reason that I'm into cloning is because my mom died because she couldn't get a heart transplant.
Yeah.
And, like, I just want to be able to clone organs so that I can save people.
That's like Von Braun said, like, I built, like, these rockets for Hitler that, like, bombed London, but the reason why I built rockets is because when I was a little boy, I thought it'd be really cool if, like, through science we could go to another planet someday. And it's like that was his, he had like a very like well-intended motivation when he started off.
Right. So I think that's kind of like what Pershing is, I feel like there was a missed opportunity there. And I think this is like, again, like you said, like a simpler version. Like it doesn't go as dark and in depth as Andor would, but I kind of want to see like a grimy show about how the Republic has failed their citizens, like, because that's like, or their new Republic, I should say, not the Republic, but
I kind of like this, Star Wars being a bit more cynical, and I used to say like, oh, to me like Star Wars it should be very black and white and just like good guys versus bad guys, and the Empire like evil space Nazis and they're bad, and I want the rebels to be good. I want the rebels to be like very like heroic, like almost kind of like how I like my superheroes to be very like I don't like a Batman or Superman that kills people. I want them to be like very noble and stuff. Like I'm okay with like. I've always been okay with, like, the rebellion, like, shooting stormtroopers and shit. Star Wars has always kind of had, like, that level of edge. But still, like, I wanted them to be very, like, pure-hearted good guys, But now that I've seen it done, and done well a few times in a post-Andor world, I really like this idea of Star Wars being a bit more nuanced and a bit more cynical. And, like, we saw how shitty the old Republic was. Shitty enough that it eventually became the Empire. And then now it's like, oh, we got like this new Republic. The rebels fought this noble cause, and then look, we got like this other problematic government.
Yeah.
I kind of would like to see like a big government actually work. And so I guess I want. Could Star Wars do like a Marxist utopia? That would be interesting to me. But I guess that wouldn't be good for your stories. It's like you have to have wars in Star Wars, so. I don't know what they'll do next. Like, the government keeps collapsing, though.
That's because they're overreaching. So a galactic government is impossible.
So you think it should be, like, a bunch of, like, independent systems?
Yeah.
Well, that's kind of like saying, like, well, we shouldn't have, like, the United States. We should just have, like, a bunch of, like, every state be its own country, and there shouldn't be, like, a big federal government.
Maybe. I think for an entire world is a bigger difference than, like, a state in terms of, like, population and resources, though. Like, I don't know. I think it's... I don't know. That's something we'd have to talk more
and
about.
there's a lot of things they've never defined in Star Wars, like like how much of the economy is dependent on like these planets trading with each other, like stuff like that, or like
Yeah.
But yeah, I as someone who used to complain about Star Wars is better when it's not focusing on politics, like I sure do love the politics of Star Wars now.
It's because we're getting older.
Is that what it is?
And we're seeing it replicated in real life more and more.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
So it's like, dang, this is a little bit real.
I mean, the part of Star Wars that was most relatable, it was like from the Bad Batch until the original trilogy. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Like that, like the rise of the Empire.
Yeah.
But I think that's all. I guess it's sad what happened to I know you hate like mind flare stuff.
Yeah, that sucked.
So yeah, Pershing got his brain scrambled. Good bad guy acting when Kane, whatever her name is, when she was like eating the biscuits, the Imperial biscuits.
She's got a really good dead eye, like for an actor, like where they just like have like a soulless eye.
She's still on Coruscant at the end of the season too, so I bet she pops up in something someday. Maybe she's in the movie.
Maybe.
I mean, I doubt Gideon is. He seems to be dead, so.
Well, you never know. Star Wars thinks everyone can come back.
I know at Target they have a lot of Imperial toys, so I bet there's gonna be some stormtroopers and bad guys, or some stormtroopers as the bad guys. But yeah, I don't know who their boss is gonna be. I guess we'll find out Friday. But Taylor, let's move on to our halfway point of the season. Right, this is the 4th episode. Chapter 20, The Foundling.
Djarin introduces Grogu to Mandalorian combat training. Grogu wins a training match, but his opponent, Ragnar Vizsla, is captured by a large raptor. Bo-Katan gathers a hunting party, which includes Djarin and Ragnar's father, Pa Vizsla, and leads them to the raptor's nest on foot. The armorer forges a new piece of Mandalorian armor for Grogu, a rondelle bearing Djarin's Mudhorn sigil. As she works, Grogu has visions of his rescue from the burning Jedi Temple by Jedi Master Kelleran Beck and sympathetic members of the Naboo armed forces. Vizsla's overeagerness to save Ragnar disrupts Bo-Katan's plan and leads to a difficult aerial confrontation in which Bo-Katan and Djarin rescue the boy unharmed, kill the raptor, collect its chicks, and earn the clan's respect. As the armorer replaces Bo-Katan's pauldron lost in the scuffle with the raptor, Bo-Katan reveals her encounter with the mythosaur, but the armorer meets her account with indifferent disbelief. There's so many things in this episode that tick me off, and I'm going to start with... Wait, what am I going to start with? Let's start with, like, those baby chicks. I was like, oh, dang, they killed this raptor, and now this raptor's babies are going to die. And they're like, oh, just kidding. The foundling actually means that we found these 3 chicks, and we have 3 new foundling Mandalorians, but they're going to be raptors. You know? And they never come back up, is what pisses me off. It's just like, what a cool thing to be like, oh, let's like nurture these chicks and then we can ride these raptors or something in the last episode. And like they make it kind of like a big deal that they brought back the chicks. Like we didn't just leave these chicks up there to die and starve. But then they don't come back up. So that's fucking weird. Like they're not in any other episode. So like lost opportunity there. The second thing is this kid, Ragnar Vizsla, is like the only kid that anything happens to in The Mandalorian. Like he's the one that got baptized in the first episode and then got fucking kidnapped almost eaten by that giant crocodile turtle thing. And then in this episode, he gets snatched by the raptor. And I'm like, is this kid like smell sweet or something to all these animals?
Yeah, he smells tasty as hell.
And then later he is also like the only kid like that talks or has anything. It's just so weird. Like, I
love all the stuff with Pa Vizsla's kid because of the big arc that he goes through where he's like less of an asshole. Like in the Book of Boba Fett, he's so hateable when he's for real. Like he's blaming Din for like you got everyone killed when we saved you and your kid.
Yeah.
And then here he's like you don't deserve that dark saber. I'm gonna challenge you for it and fight you for it. And he's like fighting dirty and like he's like talking shit to him. He's like, fate has brought this back to my clan, and now fate will end your clan. And he's like ready to kill him.
Yeah.
Because you can, I guess, it's okay to kill someone in a duel, but he then talks shit to him about, like, after he loses the fight, and he's like, "You're an apostate because you took your helmet off." Like, I don't care. Oh, you took your helmet off to say goodbye to your kid? Well, who the fuck cares? You still took your helmet off. You're going to hell. You were a bad Christian, basically.
Yeah.
And then here, he ends up in season 3 becoming a very likable guy. Like here, he's so reluctant to tolerate Bo-Katan. She's been this Mandalorian heretic, but now he's like, and it's like kind of like that thing where like a lot of conservatives, a lot of Republicans, they'll be like really bigoted until like it affects them. They'll be like, I don't support same-sex marriage, and then they have like a gay kid and they're like, oh, now I do, like stuff like that happens a lot. It kind of makes me think of that. That's kind of Pav Vizsla, but I guess better late than never.
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree. It is kind of silly the way that. Why do they live next to all these dangerous animals?
That's what I'm
It's
saying.
just, I guess because they think no one will come look for them there because it's so dangerous.
I guess.
But if you're like a foundling culture, like your duty is to go like
Right.
find and raise these orphans and raise them into Mandalorians. Like
in this episode, they literally say like, "This is the 3rd kid this week," and I'm like, "What are y'all still fucking doing here? Like letting these kids get picked off by this bird? Like y'all are crazy."
yeah, I don't know what else. There really wasn't much.
And the other thing that also kind of irks me is like, so Grogu gets that rondelle thing with the Mudhorn sigil, which we like, but like it doesn't really come up again. Like he's wearing it, I guess, for the rest of the season.
It's in a lot of the marketing for the movie. So when they were making the movie, they really liked it.
Yeah, it just feels like a missed opportunity for me also. Like, it would have been cool to see that get actionized or something.
We forgot to say his name is Kelleran Beck, but the Jedi played by Ahmed Best.
Oh, yeah.
So that was a cool surprise. I mean, I think I had heard that he was in this. I think I'd seen like screenshots of that or something before I got around to watching this with you. But I thought that was just a cool surprise, to give to the fans. And yeah, the guy who played the biggest buffoon in Star Wars also gets to play this big badass Jedi. Like, okay, just being the Jedi who rescued Grogu from the Jedi Temple, that's a really cool role.
Yeah.
But they make it this really cool, long, extended action sequence. Like, I could see someone thinking it goes on for too long and distracts from the episode, but I thought it was, like, so fucking cool. The way that, like, he fights all the clone troopers. He got, like, a blue and a green lightsaber at the same time.
Yeah,
He's on the speeder bike with the side pod to have Grogu in.
Yeah.
And
they were like, here, we want to redeem all of the crap you went through.
Yeah.
And we want this to be the best experience for you fucking possible.
Yeah, like now, like he can like show that to like his kids and grandkids for the rest of his life. He gets to be like this cool action hero.
Yeah. There's one more thing I wanted to bring up about this too. Is that we see Grogu is like hanging out with the armorer, and she's like using the forge with like the banging sound, and that's a direct parallel to season 1 when the Mandalorian is waiting with her while she's doing his armor, and he's having his flashbacks to his childhood when he was being attacked by the separatists, I guess, at the time.
There was some super battle droids,
and so you get that same like bang bang, and it's like that throws them back into. So it's such a great parallel.
And it's like at the same time, it's like that's how terrible the Clone Wars was, because like at the same time, Din was losing his family and home to the droids. Grogu was losing his to the clones.
Right. So that was really good storytelling. Good parallel, especially knowing that Grogu is going to be officially adopted by Mando at the end. So it really kind of like has that, like they have a lot in common. You know what I mean? Like they're like Din Djarin is going to be able to really understand like what Grogu has gone through. You know what I mean? Any other thoughts on the Foundling?
No, let's move on into the second half of the season, starting with chapter 21, The Pirate. Back to Navarro.
In retaliation for Vane's expulsion, Gorian Shard invades Navarro. Grief Karga contacts Carson Teva, for help from the New Republic. Suspecting that the attack is a prelude to a new rise of the Empire, Teva informs Colonel Tuttle, but when Tuttle shows indifference, he tracks down the Mandalorian covert and asks Din Djarin for help. Djarin convinces the covert to come to Karga's aid despite their prior confrontations with him, and Bo-Katan assumes command of the attack force. As the Mandalorians overcome the invasion, Vane flees, Shard is killed, and the remaining pirates are detained. The Mandalorians are welcomed back by Karga and the people and move back into their old enclave. The armorer meets with Bo-Katan, acknowledging the Mythosaur's reappearance as an omen that Bo-Katan is the one who can reunite all Mandalorians, and bids her to remove her helmet to symbolize this new position. On his way back to Adelphi, Teva encounters the wreckage of Moff Gideon's prison transport, which had gone missing during transit, and finds a fragment of Beskar alloy inside. Okay. Okay. Okay, so part of my beef with this season is, like, the unwillingness to, like let something be permanent. Like IG-11, for example, can't just fucking be dead.
No one's ever really gone.
Yeah, and like this, where it's like, Bo-Katan is gonna have her helmet on and she's part of this new Mandalorian whatever's blah blah blah. And then it's like, actually, one episode later, you can take off your helmet now. Like, we don't really care about you having your helmet off because we actually need you to be the bridge. But it's weird to me because it's like, oh, she feels like fitting in. She's kind of like wanting to try this out. And like, she even hesitates. She's like, are you sure you really want me to remove my helmet? Like, I don't really want to remove my helmet, you know? And I just think it like backtracks a little. And it feels the same like whenever they did the Mandalorian like giving up Din Djarin like giving up Grogu to Luke and then undoing it. It feels the same. And it's just like, okay, well, I guess the only thing is that they just needed her to walk this way for a little bit so that she can say that she was technically part of the clan for a couple days.
Yeah, it's kind of more like they just need to be able to like show it, you know, like, well, you know, like, we have it on record that she did like the baptism in the waters and the mines, and then like I guess like she got like rebaptized. She like retook she became born again. She was a born again Christian. Yeah. And like they accept like, okay, but we also understand you have to appeal to all these it's kind of like American politics. Let's talk about American Republicans a bit more, but it's like you have these hardcore evangelical Christians who will vote for this sex criminal, war criminal piece of shit, obviously a sinner, you know, like this corrupt businessman, like a guy who Jesus would have flipped over the tables about, you know. But they're like, oh, but, you know, like, we need this guy for, you know, whatever reasons, and, you know, we also have to team up, we have to be part of this larger coalition. So it's kind of that same kind of politics, I guess.
Yeah.
You know, that is why she has like such a good wig. Like, we were commenting on how like the Bo-Katan hair in live action looks so good compared to like the animated Bo-Katan, especially like in season 7 of Clone Wars. We were talking about that, but it's like, yeah, like the wig is a big part of her appeal. It does bother me that she does take her helmet off so fucking much, though. Like, yeah. After that, she like never has her helmet on again.
On and off. Yeah.
Yeah. But I guess that's just to remind us that like her and her group are because like Axe Swoven has his helmet off like when they duel eventually.
You know what I think bothers me the most about them all removing their helmets is they have to hold it. It's like I wish there was like something that like went crossbody that would like hang off of them when they're not, because now they don't have both hands. So it's like they're just gonna take their helmet off. They're like, and then hold it. Like, I don't know. It just seems like. Just leave it on your head then at that point. Like, you still get both hands to use. Like, I don't know, it just seems inconvenient.
There's a lot of things I did enjoy in this episode, though. Like, it opens with a Y-Wing going to, like, the Y-Wing bar. There's, like, multiple Y-Wings parked in this parking lot. There's a couple X-Wings in there, too, but I love seeing the Y-Wings. I love my fucking Y-Wings. And I also love our boy Zeb being in this episode.
Zeb cameo.
And he looked really good. Like, he shows up again in Ahsoka, I think, right?
I don't remember.
In just, like, one scene or something. I don't know if the CGI looks this good, but it looked better than I remembered. But yeah, it's cool to see Zeb there. Dave Filoni is there wearing his same fucking cowboy hat that he wears all the time. Because his character, Trapper Wolf, is just Dave Filoni in a Rebel suit. In a Rebel pilot suit.
Oh, I thought that was at the last episode.
Oh, maybe it was. Maybe that's the second time they go back there. But this also... I kind of laughed at this and rolled my eyes at this a little bit when Carson is like, it takes so long to get, anything done with this bureaucracy of the New Republic that I'm just gonna... It's quicker for me to just hop in my X-Wing, fly all the way to Coruscant at the center of the galaxy, and then fly all the way back out here. Because Navarro is supposed to be on the outer rim, and, like, I know he's not, like... I guess he's pretty close to Coruscant when he gets the message from Grief Karga that they need help. But it's cool how, like, Grief Karga says, like, I'm pretty proud, and I wouldn't ask you for help unless I really fucking need help, so... Believe me, it is a bad situation. My people are in considerable danger. So, Carson is motivated to, like, do some shit, And, but, yeah, it is just kind of a little crazy that he could go all the way to Coruscant and then theoretically go, like, all the way to Navarro. Because then he ends up going all the way to, like, Mandalorian hideout planet.
Yep.
And then they go all the way to... So that trip is made, basically. He passes the baton off to them.
This is what I'm saying. This episode is too much and not enough at the same time.
But I love, like, when he goes to Coruscant, and I love that guy is named Colonel Tuttle. I did not know that was his name. But the name Tuttle, I just think that's a funny name. But I grew up with a kid who lived down the street named Nathan Tuttle. And I always thought, like, I'm going to call you Nate Tut. And he was like, don't, my name's Nathan. But I was a weird kid. But yeah, Nate Tut. But yeah, I was just thinking of him the other day, and then this reminds me of him also. That's funny. But yeah, Colonel Tuttle. That actor is one of the most hilarious actors. That just, like, looking at him on screen makes me want to laugh. Just like any gesture for any time he moves or has any expression or, like, says anything, he just knows how to do it in a comedic way. But it's the guy he's the principal in Mean Girls. And he also just showed up in the last season of Peacemaker.
Oh, yeah.
So
he doesn't know how to identify birds.
Yeah, he pops up in a lot of stuff we've been watching. But yeah, a very funny guy. Colonel Tuttle. I'm going to call him Colonel Tuttle and everything now. I should learn that actor's name at some point. But yeah, funny guy. But yeah, that's all I got on Chapter 21, The Pirate. I'm ready for Chapter 22, Guns for Hire.
Okay. Bo-Katan, Djarin, and Grogu set out for the idyllic
planet Plazar 15.
Thanks. Where Bo-Katan's former army, now led by Axe Woves. I'm sorry.
Is it Woves? I thought it was Woven, but I guess it's Woves.
No, it's Woves.
Okay, Axe Woves.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Some of these names are so stupid.
That's a kind of a douchey name, though.
Yeah, he's definitely he wears Axe, and that's why he's called Axe
body
Woves.
Spray. Yeah.
He listens to Nickelback. Okay. Anyways, that guy have set themselves up as mercenaries. Before they can meet them, they are involuntarily diverted by the planet's rulers, Captain Bombardier and the Duchess, who ask for their help in neutralizing several repurposed but malfunctioning Imperial and Separatist droids. After stopping a rogue droid, Bo-Katan and Djarin follow its trail to the Resistor, a droid bar, and convince its bartender and clientele to help them. They discover that the droids were sabotaged through nanodroids in the bar's maintenance fluid, which were covertly imported by Commissioner Hellgate, head of the Planetary Security Office. Confronted, Hellgate reveals himself as a separatist before Bo-Katan knocks him out, and the Duchess sentences him to penitent exile on the moon of Paraquat. Granted an audience with the Mandalorian privateers, Bo-Katan challenges Woves for leadership and defeats him. To help her ascendance, Djarin admits his capture by the cyborg in the mines of Mandalore and his rescue by Bo-Katan, which rightfully bestows the Darksaber back to her. What a weird ass episode. First, okay, I am gonna complain about the Lizzo and Jack Black thing because, like,
But not Christopher Lloyd, or do you complain about him too?
I don't complain about him because he isn't, to me, what Lizzo and Jack Black are. Like, Christopher Lloyd is like a legit
Like
actor.
he's an actor. They're celebrities.
Yes. But also, like, no hate on Jack Black a little bit because he seems pretty cool, and I do think he can act and, like, is, like, good at that. But, like, Lizzo's a singer, and I think it's weird to, I don't know, it just feels like one of those, like, I'll give you a bunch of money if you put me in your show kind of thing. And
Well,
it's
they get a lot of big actors. I don't know about, like, big. They get, like, a lot of, like, medium range actors on this show because a lot of people are Star Wars fans.
Yeah,
but so I think Lizzo is just like, I want to be in Star Wars.
Okay, I guess this is my complaint, is that Lizzo and Jack Black are such big personalities and identifiable as that brand. And so to bring their brands into the Star Wars brand, in my opinion, doesn't work. It's not like, oh, we hired Timothy Oliphant to be the marshal, because he's an actor and he can chameleon into a character. Like, that's his job.
Like, Jack Black only plays Jack Black type characters.
Yeah, like, he's basically Jack Black in everything he plays.
Yeah.
And Lizzo has a big personality also and has a brand. And it is, you know, big singer, sequin, pop, dance stuff.
It's like when Richard Donner made the first Superman movie in 1978. He said he didn't want a famous actor as Superman because he didn't want people to like, oh, look, that's Burt Reynolds in a Superman suit. But he wanted them to look at the screen and be like, oh, that's Superman. So he got this guy, Christopher Reeves, who no one had heard of.
That's the thing with both of them, too, is they're not... Maybe if they were aliens, like if they had done, like, heavy makeup or something on
that would have
them,
been fun.
where you were like, oh, I didn't know that was Lizzo. That probably would have helped a lot. But they both are very much themselves.
Yeah, they should have cameoed in one of the animated things.
Or cameo them as, like, in the background and just, like, a really quick, like, 2-second joke or something. But don't make them, like, characters in the arc.
Or put her in the show as a singer. Just like put her on stage singing.
Oh, she would have been so fun instead of spicy noodles.
Yeah, like, oh, get the composer of the show.
Ludwig Göransson.
And I guess he does the score and someone else... I mean, I guess he does the main theme and someone else does, like, the score of each episode. Okay. That Shirley guy or whatever.
Sure.
But anyways, get one or both of them and just be like, okay, you and Lizzo and her producers, y'all just go, like, hang out and come up with some funky music.
Pop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she could, like, be on stage and dance and, just be part of, like, the background of the scene. That would have been cool as hell.
I thought it was distracting, though, to have them both in this.
No,
and
that's
I
totally
also
fair.
think they're both annoying characters in this.
But they're supposed to be annoying.
I know.
But
it's hard because I also associate Jack Black with being annoying as fuck. And, like, it's just so hard to, like... It was hard for me. I think, like, I was trying so hard to be open-minded because, like, I don't think it actually bothered me very much the first time, but then the second time I was bothered more, and now this time I'm bothered even more. And I think it's also a big risk to put people like this into these roles. I mean, I guess this happens with anything. You always take a risk. But, like, there's definitely been some, like, not great stuff that Lizzo has done since this episode aired.
We'll have to talk about that later. I don't know about that.
Yeah, I don't know much about it, but I know there was a lot of, like, body shaming with her. Like, she would body shame her dancers and stuff. And, like, it was just... There is some stuff that seemed not so good that came up about a year ago. So it's kind of hard, like, when you're putting big personalities like Jack Black and Lizzo into this, and, like, you have to really... I think that's, like, you have to really hope that they're going to be a good person for a long time so that it doesn't, like...
Well, that's kind of true of any actor, though.
Yeah, I agree. Like, we literally just were talking about how Cara Dune was... our cat is going crazy. But how Cara Dune was written off the show because she had terrible opinions. But overall here, it was a lot for me this time. It's harder every time I watch it. instead of easier, and that frustrates me.
There's a lot of no. I agree with I guess people who think this episode's a bit of a hot mess, but I also find a lot in it that I like.
The droid stuff is really good.
I like the droid stuff. It's kind of a weird story about Christopher Lloyd is the separatist who he's pissed off that now the ruler of his planet is married to this ex-imperial. But he's kind of like that old timer that we saw in Tales of the Underworld that Asajj Ventress crossed paths with. But he was kind of based on the ex-Confederate type from a lot of American westerns. We talk about how big of the western genre has an influence on Star Wars. But there was a lot of these these guys who were pissed off that the South lost the Civil War, and that's kind of this guy's kind of coded like that for Dooku and the Separatists,
Mm-hmm.
But his big problem is that he's mad that this ex-Nazi from World War II is now married to the ruler of his planet.
Yeah.
So that's just kind of a weird story.
It is weird.
But what I love is the buddy cop story
Mm-hmm.
of Din Djarin and Bo-Katan. I talk about it a lot, but there's a lot of really cool kind of cop story archetypes that were made for all these procedural TV shows that would just pop out a shitload of episodes about these cops investigating crimes. But I'm kind of never want to see another cop show the rest of my life. But I kind of like that genre being applied to other things. And so this is a buddy cop investigation. They're the two detectives, and Bo-Katan is the good cop who's the nice one, and then Din Djarin is the bad cop, and it's so funny. He's so petty towards the droids. He goes back into his droid bigotry so hard.
Yeah.
And when he's kicking the battle droids.
Okay, but this is because they're separatist droids, especially. This is triggering him hardcore.
Those were the model of droids that killed his original family. That would be you're watching that would be like someone in Gaza who's seen their family killed by the IDF, then they're seeing people marching by in that uniform. It would be impossible not to be pissed as fuck, honestly.
I like Bo-Katan and Djarin being very different in their approach to everything, and I like Bo-Katan being you need to chill, you need to stop, and
he is so
I love
off the rails.
I love the part though where he does just start kicking the droids to see which one is gonna malfunction.
But when they're in the bar and that one protocol droid is tries to leave,
and he's like no one leaves. And I was damn, that's threatening as hell.
Jesus Christ, I feel so sorry for that fucking droid who's probably now terrified. But what is so weird to me is Star Wars has this kind of slavery thing with droids, where droids are sentient slaves, basically. And it's just kind of an accepted thing in the Star Wars universe. But it's weird in this episode that the droids say, we actually love serving. That's...
It is kind of weird.
Yeah.
It's
kind of a pro-slavery thing.
They have a Stockholm syndrome.
However, the fact that they do worship organics, it is kind of an old school Star Wars lore. That is one of the very first things we learned about droids in 1977 when C-3PO said, "Thank the maker, this oil bath is going to feel so good." It's droids kind of have this religious worship of organics for creating them, for being the maker who made them.
I liked the line that the bartender said, well, human lifespan is so short. I think that does give some good perspective too. He's well, y'all gonna die.
It's kind of how we serve our animals, we're their droids.
Yeah. Okay, sorry to think about that for a second, because I was but yeah.
But yeah, I mean, why not take care of them? We're only gonna have them for so long, so why not,
we'll
treat
tolerate
them as
this for at least 12 years.
Yeah.
All right. Any other thoughts on Guns for Hire?
Just an awkward episode that have things I both think are very fun, but also things that really make me scratch my head.
Yeah. Also, all that for them to just go say, "Hey, Mandalorian privateers, I'm gonna beat you up."
Oh wait, did this also have? Yeah, this opens with the Quarren captain and the Mon
Oh,
Calamari.
Romeo
So,
and Juliet.
is that Lee Char's son? Remember Prince Lee Char?
I guess.
The-
Yeah, is it?
Yeah, we put Lee Char on the throne back in the Clone Wars.
Yeah.
And I've read some Star Wars comics where you see him as king, and he's pretty cool as like a king, kind of resisting the Empire.
Mm-hmm.
And then, but here, like, I assume this is Lee Char's son.
I guess so. Yeah, that makes
But
sense.
I mean, just like timeline. Well, I mean, this is like like 30 or so years after he got on the throne as a teenager.
I kind of wish we got more on their story. Like if they had wrapped up at the end or something, and I don't know. Even if we like saw them together in the background or something.
I thought she looked so cool in her water tube. It's like, I guess, like these aquatic beings, they can be on these dry spaceships, but they're just much more comfortable when they can be in water.
Yeah.
And that was like kind of like captain's privilege. I get to sit in the water kind of thing. And then her, the way that she talked to this Imperial cruiser when she was just like, "Oh, my apologies. I didn't know there were any local warlords we needed to pay tribute to." And then they're like, "I'm no criminal." And, the audience, you probably don't recognize it's Axe Wove's voice the first time you watch this, so you think it's an actual Imperial.
Yeah.
But then the way that she switches, like, "Oh, my apologies. Basic is not my first language, so please forgive me. I should say that, I'm honored to be in the presence of the majestic empire, and I'd be more than happy to pay
She's
for
like,
Imperial protection."
anything to get out of this conversation right now.
Yeah, she's basically like, we're going to be easy.
She's like, we're going to suck up, but
Yeah.
just tell me how you want us to suck up. Like, come on.
But then the reveal of like, no, we're Mandalorians.
And we're bounty hunting your prince.
And they're all like so terrified. They're like, man, like, there were legends about these Mandalorians. Like, we got to just turn them over. You're like, this isn't a fight we want to have.
Yeah.
Kind of cool. But yeah, and you said you hate Grogu flipping around when he's hanging out with the Duchess.
Oh,
She's
yeah.
a Duchess, right? Is that what her title is?
Yeah.
Oh, I was going to say one thing about Jack Black. I'm kind of torn on if I like him or not in this episode, because I think it's kind of neat to think of him as this ex-Imperial officer. I guess he was like I don't know, he could have been like an army captain, or he could have been like a navy captain.
He was actually the jester.
But, well, I'm just trying to picture like what he would have been like as an Imperial officer. But part of me is like, does he really like love this Duchess, or is is he just like another Imperial faker?
That's what I'm saying.
And like, and then like, this is just kind of a like, he's like way overacting as a performance,
Yeah.
What if he's revealed to be the villain in The Mandalorian and Grogu,
That
and
would
he's
be
actually,
hilarious.
and it's actually like, oh, you didn't know? Moff Gideon was actually working for me the whole time.
Yeah, I hope they don't do that. But yeah, the final scene basically is Bo-Katan challenging wolves and wins. And basically tells them all, okay, y'all, we're going to go and recapture Mandalore, and y'all are coming with me.
Christopher Lloyd went to the moon of Paraquat, which I don't know what happens when you're exiled there, but it must be really not very good. The way
I think it's going to be like rainbows and butterflies, and then like Teletubbies singing at him, and he'll be tortured by that. It'll be like he's stuck in a PBS program.
No. Maybe that's what he needs.
That's what I'm saying. That's the only thing I can think would make him miserable. Okay. You ready for chapter 23, The Spies?
Let's do it.
Moff Gideon is informed by Elia Kane of the Mandalorians' intent to retake their planet. Gideon relays the... How does she know that, first of all? The fuck?
Oh, she was there in Tuttle's office.
Oh, okay. That's right. I forgot. Okay, Gideon relays this information to the Shadow Council, a group of Imperial Remnant warlords. He requests reinforcements from Commandant Brendel Hux and questions Captain Pelion on the absence of Grand Admiral Thrawn. Reassembling on Navarro, Bo-Katan unites the Mandalorian clans and prepares a recon party to explore the surface of Mandalore and locate the Great Forge. Before leaving, Greef Karga presents Din Djarin with IG-12, a rebuilt version of IG-11, which is able to be controlled by Grogu. On Mandalore, the group meets another surviving clan who is loyal to Bo-Katan. Bo-Katan admits that she surrendered to Gideon shortly after the Night of a Thousand Tears, hoping that her people would be spared from further harm. The party finds the Great Forge but is ambushed by Beskar-enhanced stormtroopers. Jaren is captured by a Beskar-clad Gideon who reveals his intent to complete the Great Purge of Mandalore. He attempts to kill the search party, but Bo-Katan uses the Darksaber to make an escape for the group. Paz
Vizsla.
Paz Vizsla stays behind to buy time, but is killed by Gideon's Praetorian guards.
Yeah. So the Praetorian guards are the more advanced Imperial Red Guards that we see in the sequel trilogy that are guarding Snoke. And they come from General Hux's dad's forces. This Commandant Hux is the father of the Hux of the sequel trilogy.
All right.
And there's a lot of foreshadowing of Thrawn. Oh, there's Captain Pelion, who he's a character who was from the same book series that introduced Thrawn. They also had his sidekick, Captain Pelion. And he was kind of the first Imperial officer that we ever really got to, kind of see a bit more humanized, I guess, and developed as a character. We had previously seen him in one of those Tales of the Empire episodes. He's there with Thrawn and Morgan Elsbeth. And
okay.
He was also mentioned, I believe, in an episode of Rebels. But so he is tight with Thrawn, but he wasn't on the ship when it got zapped with the pearls to another galaxy. So he's here. He's basically like trying to get back to his boss, and that we see that continued in Ahsoka. But I like that they're talking up Thrawn here, and Gideon's kind of like, we keep talking about Thrawn, but where is he?
Yeah.
I feel like that might have been kind of a reaction to the fan base. Like, y'all have been mentioning Thrawn since Mando season 2. Like, when are we gonna see him in live action? But I like the Shadow Council. It's funny to me that Gideon is operating out of Mandalore. We saw that Lambda shuttle he was extracted from, and it turned out he just went back to Mandalore. And that's why there's been all these reports put out that the planet was still poisoned. That was probably him trying to preserve his secret base.
Yeah, that's a good point.
But Gideon, as this great representation of the Empire, because he's the ultimate colonizer.
Yeah.
He basically admits his agenda, but he wants to take from every culture and just combine what he wants and make it his own and own it. And the way that he lives in the heart of Mandalore, this planet he destroyed, when he's like, taking their Beskar. And I guess his cloning program. So it's kind of like he's running his own cloning program. Like, Hux is overseeing Project Necromancer, right? That was him, right?
Yeah.
So Project Necromancer turns out continued beyond Bad Batch, and Palpatine's coming back. And they're, I guess they build Snoke or whatever also comes from that, which is weird. But anywho, Gideon is he even like steals from the Empire itself, because he's taking the cloning technology, I guess, from Project Necromancer.
Yeah.
And he wanted Pershing to run his own kind of Project Necromancer thing. So the idea of the Dark Trooper armor also is that the Dark Troopers, the idea with them, I think it originally came from a Star Wars video game, but they were supposed to be they're like cyborgs. They're like, there's like a stormtrooper inside of this dark armor. And then the droids that he had in the Mandalorian season 2, the ones that Luke Skywalker cut up, those are supposed to be more advanced Dark Troopers, that they didn't need the human inside.
Mm-hmm.
And now he says here that his final version of the Dark Trooper, like the ultimate improvement, is actually having him inside of it. And so his dream is to have a bunch of clones of himself that are able to use the Force, that are in this Dark Trooper armor that is now made out of Beskar, because he's stealing that from the Mandalorians.
Because he said he was stealing from the Jedi, the Empire, and the Mandalorians. That was like in his speech, and he's like, "And I will be the rightful ruler." Like, this is when I was full on like, "Oh, he's like insane."
Yeah.
Like I feel like we actually don't see enough of this insanity before this point for it to be believable. I'm like, oh, they just wanted to make him a big bad and drop him back in.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's also after like his big defeat in season 2. I guess like he just went off the deep end after that, but I don't know. Maybe it was humiliating to be defeated at the end of season 2. But speaking of that, at the end of season 2, I haven't brought this up yet, but I think one of the issues of season 3 is that moment when Gideon is defeated and Luke Skywalker comes on board and cuts down all of the Dark Troopers. It's like nothing in season 3 can ever top that moment. That was such like a great like shock and such like a satisfying conclusion to the Din Djarin arc, and it's just like, it's hard for the show to ever hit that high of a high ever again, know? That's kind of like the peak of the show. So, and then I guess that does kind of make like, hey, let's just bring that same bad guy back. It's like, oh, look, he never made it to court. And it's just, I guess that's true. The report he never made it to court. It's like, that's kind of a big fucking deal, y'all. Like, that kind of seems like a big deal. Like, I know there's a lot of Imperial war criminals to deal with, but this one kind of seems like a priority since he was about to fuck up some shit.
Yeah.
So... it is a bit anticlimactic for the show to end by just bringing back the same big bad that was defeated in the previous season and then defeating him again. But that's where we are. It is kind of cool to see what's her name on Coruscant, the Kane, right?
Yeah, Elia Kane.
That Viper droid that came out of the shadows to talk to her. That was kind of cool that the Empire, like, there's enough of their remnants that they still have like this droid operating on Coruscant. That's kind of cool. The dudes on the sailing ship.
Oh, yeah.
That happens in this episode. What do you think of those Mandalorians?
That was fucking weird. Because it was like, the whole time, we've been talking about, Mandalorians aren't on Mandalore because they think it's poisoned. And then they show up on Mandalore and it's like, surprise, bitches, we've been here the whole time. I'm like, why? Like,
well, I think they're not like... There's not many of them left. Like, these guys don't seem like they're doing too well.
No. But this kind of reminded me of Rex and his 2 old clones in like their little walker in the desert.
Rex and Gregor and Wolf slinging for Jupa.
Yeah. That's kind of what these guys kind of... But the only reason that they had these people here is they needed a convenient vessel for them to travel far on Mandalore. That's the only reason they wrote these people.
Well, it was the will of the Force.
Stupid.
The will of the Force.
Oh, okay. The will of the Mythosaur.
I liked their boat, though. It was like a cool sailing ship thing. And it looked cool when they were like, is that the voice of Bo-Katan? And then she was like... I liked the tension there. Like, these Mandalorian
She's
encounters...
like, are they gonna hate me or love me? I don't know.
Oh, is this also when we get the line from her that the Mandalorians were too mighty to be defeated by any enemy. We're only defeated by ourselves, by other Mandalorians.
Accurate.
But yeah, I love that. There's such a melancholy sadness to that.
Mm-hmm.
But it's also like, it's kind of badass that like no one else can defeat you though. But that you're so good at defeating others that you defeat yourself.
They're so fractioned now that it is easy to defeat them.
But
and then the other thing that happened that was big sad in this episode is Paz Vizsla dies.
Yeah, and he gave that cool speech earlier in the season when they went to fight the pirates on Navarro.
Mm-hmm.
And he talked about how like when we lived there we had to like hide in the sewers like Ninja Turtles basically, and it really sucked. And then like so many of us died like basically like fighting the town. It was like a whole fucking town of bounty hunters and they were all shooting at us, and you think, oh yeah, he's gonna be, he's always the hater and he's about to like shit all over this plan to go to Navarro, but then he's like but in spite of that, we should turn the other cheek and still go save them. And it's like, damn. Pa Vizsla, you're actually cool. You're a real one after all. And they like, I don't know, maybe it took like Bo-Katan coming to help save your kid or whatever it was, but it really, it brings out the best of him in the end of season 3. And then like I love like his last stand when he's firing that big ass Gatling gun looking thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the blaster that Blaze, whatever his name was in Rogue One.
Mm-hmm.
But he shoots it so much that it's like starting to melt. The barrel gets so hot, it's like glowing, like so hot. But yeah, I don't know. He just went out like a boss.
Yeah. And now has left behind a foundling son.
Yeah, but I guess like having a kid, like having to raise a kid, I think that made him, kind of reassess, what are the important things, And he was always down to like, that he was always down to fight to the end.
That's true.
He said on Navarro he was the only one who survived that battle with all the bounty hunters. So.
Mm-hmm.
And then here, those guys that he's fighting, the Imperials, they're like the Imperial super commandos we saw in Rebels that were on Mandalore. The Mandos who served the Empire, the Gar Saxon and his son. So these guys are kind of like that. These are like, it's kind of the opposite. Instead of Mandalorians serving as stormtroopers, they're like stormtroopers that have like Mandalorian armor. But yeah, I like the big battle of I guess there's more of that in the next episode. We can.
But did you like the IG-12 version?
That was a little weird to me,
right?
like Grogu in a mech, but they only do it for a couple of episodes. And you know what? Like, I kind of missed it when it was gone. I was like, maybe I could have gotten used to it.
This is another one of those things that pissed me off because I was like, do it or don't do it. Like, don't introduce it to us and then take it away. Like,
well,
that is such a big issue in this show, season 3 for me, is it's never a permanent, it always is like, here it is and it's gone. Here it is and it's gone.
I think that they aren't really sure what they want. Maybe they know now that they've made this whole movie about it that we haven't seen yet, but they don't really know how to like keep Grogu in the action, but like have the puppet be in the action, Because like he either has to be like the little like hover egg, but that kind of makes them feel like too much of a baby. Like they want him to be like more of like a little kid, and the only way he can like keep up running around on Mandalore is in the droid armor. I don't know what. How would you do that if you had like him as like this like Jedi Mandalorian badass? Would he just be like always flying around in his Mando jetpack or like?
I don't know.
It's interesting. I don't know what you do with like a more grown up Grogu, but.
Yeah. I did like the yes/no thing. I thought that was pretty funny. Yeah. There was a couple times where like that kind of added a good humor.
Oh yeah, I made a note to point out when Axwove and Pa Vizsla they get in a fight playing like they're playing like Mandalorian chess or
and
something.
And they can't agree on the rules because they come from different factions.
Right. They have like different styles of the game.
Yeah.
And he's like, these primitives even make up their own rules, and it's just like And like this guy is like, where I come from, like we fight each other to the death over shit like that.
Yeah, that was so much.
But yeah, but like Grogu breaks up the fight.
He's like, no, y'all are stupid. But yeah, I'm glad that happened. I guess I think they should either just like get. I guess what I mean is I wish that they would either like say like, okay, here's IG-12 and this is the new thing, or just like not do it. Like it's hard for me to like get something and then it's like immediately taken away. I'm like, that's silly. So you just wrote it for convenience of what you need for this episode, but like it really doesn't make sense. The other thing that doesn't make sense is where the fuck is Din Djarin going to put this thing in his teeny tiny sports car now? That has pissed me off this whole season.
Yeah, I said that he would have to strap it to the outside of the ship.
How the hell is he going to go to hyperspace with that roped on his...
Strap it down really tight.
That ain't going anywhere.
Maybe there's another magnetic connection you can
I don't know. I am so turned off by his Naboo ship. I like it. I mean, it's cool, but he should have like a bigger ship that it docks inside of.
That would be cool as fuck.
That's what he needs. He needs a house. Well, I guess he gets a house in the next episode. But Yeah, I just have really been hating on this ship because I feel like he lost so much with the Razor Crest. Like, he lost having a toilet
So
and a
would you?
shower
But
and a food place
You don't
and a
want the show to
bed.
reset though. You don't want the show to like introduce something and then get rid of it. But would you want him to just go back to having a Razor Crest ship?
No, no, like I'm saying he needs something different.
Okay.
But
So
like,
you're ready
but
for the third ship. You're like this
I
was
I think he needs it.
okay,
But he isn't gonna need it now. Is the point? Because
no,
in the next episode he's settled down on
but
Navarro.
he's still gonna work as a bounty hunter. Because remember he told Carson.
Yeah, so he needs a third seat at
Right.
least.
So I think he's gonna have a new ship in the movie.
He's got to. It's too small. Like, this sports car ship needs more room. Like, this is like his like cruising around Navarro ship moving forward. But if
Yeah.
he's gonna go do a bounty,
This is like
I think though that they should have a way that his ship mounts to the RV part of his new
yeah,
ship.
he needs to have like a working ship that he can go like bounty hunt with, and you know he has to occasionally freeze someone in carbonite because you know all the Mandalorian bounty hunters probably like learned that trick after Boba Fett did it in The Empire Strikes Back, and he learned it from Annie who did it in Clone Wars. Uh, but you know if he wanted to like freeze people in carbonite or like bring them on board as a prisoner, he needs like a bigger ship for that. And then on his days off, he can park that in the garage on Navarro, and then get in the N1, and then him and the kid like they take that to go visit Mandalore and see how Bo-Katan and the settlers there are doing. You know,
Yeah.
because that's the plan. Like they're gonna like resettle Mandalore.
Yeah.
But have we started talking about chapter
No.
24 yet? Okay, we kind of already are. So let's officially move on. Tell us what happens in chapter 24, The Return.
Bo-Katan and her reconnaissance squad retreat from Moff Gideon's base. Upon returning to the Mandalorian flagship, Axe Woves sends the remaining Mandalorians to reinforce the planetary troops, while he defends the ship from Imperial TIE squadrons. With assistance from Grogu, Din Djarin escapes from captivity and seeks out Gideon. Djarin and Grogu discover cloning tanks filled with Force-sensitive clones of Gideon, and Djarin destroys them. After a lengthy skirmish between the Mandalorians and the Beskar-enhanced stormtroopers within the base, Bo-Katan, Djarin, and Grogu make a final stand against Gideon and his Praetorian guards, in which the Darksaber is destroyed. Wolves rams the Mandalorian capital ship into the Imperial base, and Gideon is consumed by the resulting blast. Grogu protects himself, Bo-Katan, and Djarin from the blast with a force barrier. After the battle, the Mandalorians restart the Great Forge, and Djarin formally adopts Grogu. And also, that kid, Ragnar Vizsla, gets rebaptized again for some reason in this scene. Afterwards, Djarin takes up honest contract work with Carson Teva and moves into a cabin on the outskirts of Navarro's capital, while IG-11 is rebuilt by the Anzellan mechanics to serve as Navarro's new marshal. Well, so this is another one that annoys me too, is it's like, oh, we have all these Moff Gideon clones, and now we don't. Like, he destroys them immediately. So we never even see them react or do anything. And even if they, and we don't ever see that they for real are force sensitive. Like, did he finally crack the code for that? Or was he thinking, oh, I cracked the code for that, and then they were going to be born, and then they didn't work?
I think he thought he was getting close. But...
yeah. But, like, he wasn't going to know, and we weren't going to know for sure unless they were out and about. But I thought that was a lost opportunity. It's like, why would you even introduce this? And then we don't even get to see anything happen with them. They literally, it's like, hey, we discovered all your clones and we killed them all. And let's see. And then, oh yeah, so then Djarin and Grogu and Bo-Katan fighting Gideon again, over and over. It's the same thing, back and forth. Djarin fights Moff Gideon. Moff Gideon runs away, whatever. Djarin is captured, and then he's released. Like, they're never anywhere for long, and like, it just seems silly, like the writing is just so, like, I don't want to say, like, fast-paced, because I also feel like it's going nowhere. It's like, oh, we captured him, shit, we can't actually have him captured, so he needs to be out again already. You know what I mean? And it's like, well, why did you even write that he got captured then? And, I don't know, it just seems really, like it can't decide how it wants to wrap up. And, like a lot of filler action in between stuff. You know, until, like, Bo-Katan, I guess, can get back to have her last stand against Gideon. I don't know. My only thing I kind of, oh man, I guess a couple things that I did think were good is I liked that when Axe Woves was aiming that big ship, the Imperial. It wasn't a Star Destroyer.
It's a light cruiser,
The
I
light
believe. But
cruiser.
it was actually Gideon's ship from season 2
Oh.
that they captured at the end of season 2.
Oh yeah. Oh, and I loved the painted mythosaur on the bottom of that. That was nice.
Looked badass.
But I was gonna say, I liked in this that he got out before the ship crashed.
That was a cool action scene too. The way that like it's so urgent how he flies up to it and he's like on the comm link with them, like yelling orders at them, lands on the ship, and then runs like all the way to the bridge. And we kind of follow him like all the way from the surface of the planet to the bridge of the ship, you know?
Yeah.
And he's like yelling like everyone like get down there, get down there.
Yeah. But I like that he escapes. I fucking hate that trope of like, I'll stay with the ship. Like, god damn it. Like, get off. Like, fucking sequels do that. And I'm just like, y'all don't need this. You just write it that way because it's a convenient way to make a martyr out of someone that you previously, like, your audience was supposed to be having issues with or whatever. So, like, in this case, I like that it's like, oh, he did the thing and he still gets to survive and he's redeemed and still gets to be a part of the bigger fight.
Yeah, but yeah, it makes it easier for us to redeem him for being an asshole earlier.
Yeah.
And that's something I was thinking that, you know, when I was watching him kind of like, you know, run through the ship and how badass that scene was, I was thinking like, yeah, this show has a really cool ability of like introducing these bad guys, but then a lot of them, you know, you kind of end up liking eventually. Like Boba Fett kind of came in as a dick, and then we end up liking him. Fennec Shand, you know, obviously was very mean when we first met her. IG-11, great example.
Yeah.
Even like Grief Karga.
Yeah.
Even like Cara Dune, when he first meets her, they fight and then they become friends.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the thing that happens a lot in Dragon Ball. Like everyone Goku ever meets, he fights and then they become friends afterwards.
Uh-huh.
But it also happens in like the X-Men comics. Like so many X-Men comics are like there's this bad guy mutant that they fight a couple times and then eventually that character becomes a good guy and joins the X-Men side. So it is a neat thing to see. I guess it's happened in Star Wars a lot. You know, you could say that Han Solo is kind of like that. But, you know, Darth Vader's story kind of ends in this redemption. But, you know, we saw Callus on Rebels. You know, I said he was a very interesting redemption. You know, like what can he do to make up for his past? You know, it's kind of cool to see that explored.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like here we go with Axe Wove, and you know, same thing with like Pav Vizsla. You know, like he seemed like such an asshole for a while, and then we end up really rooting for him and kind of grieving him. And seeing him be such a fucking badass, taking out all of those Mando stormtroopers, and then the Praetorian guards. That's like the only thing that could like take him down. Was like 3 Praetorian guards.
Yeah.
And he's still like he fights them like so hard to the bitter end, and like when he like grabs that guy's sword and like pulls it closer, like he's like still trying to like get to that guy. Mm-hmm. It's very much like the movie Excalibur. There's something like that, or kind of like Tom Hardy in Star Trek Nemesis. He's kind of like that with Picard.
Yeah.
But then in the final episode here, when the Praetorian guards come after Grogu, that's like the most worried I've ever been about Grogu.
Oh, yeah.
Is when he's in IG-12 and he's locked in a room away from his dad, away from Bo-Katan, and there's 3 Praetorian guards.
Yeah.
Who have that. I really like their big epic fight with Rey and Kylo Ren in The Last Skywalker. And I'm like, oh yeah, like those dudes can fucking fight. And but Grogu made it out. IG-12 did not.
Nope. What'd you think of Grogu's force field? Kanan style.
You know, it kind of shows his growth in the Force. You know, like, not only does Din Djarin trust Grogu enough to, like, you know, take him into battle here. He's trained with Luke Skywalker. He knows how to defend himself. I guess it's kind of a Mandalorian thing than to go into battle if you're able to defend yourself, but he is able to do a couple force things here and there and kind of help out. He'll force push someone to help his dad. He'll force push Gideon to help Bo-Katan, stuff like that. And then when he makes like the force field Kanan style to stop the explosion, he did that at the end of season 1 on Navarro, but he like passed out after that. And then here, it kind of takes a lot out of him, but he just kind of like sits down. But he seems like he's gonna get back up again.
I get knocked down.
Yeah, like instead of taking a nap, he just felt like a little winded, but he'll be fine. He'll be back up in a second.
Yeah.
So it really shows that he's growing in the Force. I like seeing the growth with Grogu. I just want to I'm ready for him to start talking.
Yeah, me too.
We talk about how okay, let's say that Yoda as 900 years old, excuse me, Yoda is actually the equivalent of being 90 human years old. That seems about right.
Yeah.
So we think Grogu, when he was saved from the Jedi Temple by Ahmed Best back during the events of Revenge of the Sith, he would have been 20, so the equivalent of 2. And then since then, he's had to live in hiding and whatnot, and has seen and been exposed to who knows what, and now at 50, he's kind of the equivalent of a 5-year-old who's kind of non-vocal,
non-verbal,
or non-verbal. Sorry,
because he hasn't been taught.
Yeah,
he's not been educated. He's been on the run and hidden and whatever.
Yeah, but I think it'd be cool now to start kind of.
Introducing words.
Yeah, and making them closer to eventually being more a 6 or 7 or 8-year-old kid.
I think they're gonna struggle finding a voice for him though, and that's a big reason that they balked at that for season 3, because they bring that up several times in this season. She's like, he's not old enough to speak the creed. He can't speak the creed, so we can't make him your apprentice.
Unless he's adopted by a parent, and then the parent, I guess the parent or legal guardian can give permission to them to skip saying the creed. But that's kind of a weird rule. It's your baby can't talk, but you can still give them permission to become an apprentice.
Yeah,
what a weird rule.
This is the way.
I guess.
This is the way that we write our show, because we don't care to explain and write better.
I have spoken.
Yeah.
Oh, I did want to shout out the Ugnaughts, by the way, in that episode.
Oh, yeah, the Lizzo
Guns for
episode.
Hire. Yeah.
Yeah, the Ugnaughts were cool as shit, working on all those separatist droids. I loved that. Sorry, we are backtracking just a little bit. I did love that they were proud of their work, and immediately were well, it's not us.
Yeah.
They're all right, we've already solved it, actually. But y'all got to go through all your loophole and figure out all your evidence.
Shout out to Quill.
Yeah.
But, so this episode ends with the Mando and Grogu settling down on their house. They also told Carson, the X-Wing pilot, that, I like that conversation where Din Djarin says, now that I have this kid as my apprentice, I have to be a bit more particular about the jobs I take, and basically saying he only wants to go after really bad guys, and he says I can clean up all these Imperials in the Outer Realm for the government, but I like that he's but I'm not gonna be an official employee. I'm gonna do this on a case by case basis, and then, if you're Carson, then, why not? This is something that you want to do anyways. Mm-hmm. You're frustrated with the bureaucratic government back on Coruscant. Colonel Tuttle, dealing with him.
Yeah.
Colonel Tuttle ain't gonna clean up the Imperials, but this Mandalorian dude, he will. And he's kind of gonna do your job for you, so you can just hang out in your bar and hang out with Zeb.
Yeah.
So why not? So... But yeah, I guess they can do like multiple movies if they want. But I
Yeah.
don't know. I still think eventually the story will be that Din Djarin dies and then Grogu ends up becoming a Jedi. I just can't imagine them having this strong Force sensitive character and not wanting them to go Jedi at some point.
Well, he has such a long life. It's like once his pet Jaren dies, then he can go do his next thing.
Or I don't know. Maybe yeah, maybe he never gets trained by a Jedi, but like he, gets some good lightsaber training from someone, and I was always thinking he was going to yield. I'm sorry, I was always thinking he was going to wield the dark saber, but I had forgotten that in this episode, Moff Gideon seems to destroy the dark saber.
That's not gonna last long.
Well, yeah, because that thing. I hope not, because it was over 1,000 years old.
Yeah, I'm 100% sure that thing's coming back.
But it made me think it would also be cool that if Grogu is the one who rebuilds it and he makes like his own like kind of like small dark saber with it, or what if the reason the dark saber looks the way it does? I'm just speculating that maybe in the mines of Mandalore there's like a weird kind of
Kyber crystal.
yeah, there's like a Beskar Kyber crystal, and that is what
Is inside the dark
is in
saber.
the dark saber. Like that is what Tar Vizsla used back over 1,000 years ago.
Yeah, that's a good headcanon.
So maybe Grogu will go into these mines someday and find his own. Like maybe he'll go like do like the baptism thing like his dad, and then like become one of the like permanent helmet types of Mandos, just to like honor his dad, or at least do that for a couple 100 years, and then move on to something else. You know.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of cool stuff you could explore with this character, but yeah, like it is awkward. Like, how do you deal with him walking so slow because he's got such like short little legs?
Yeah.
That's gonna be a tricky thing to deal with.
Yeah. Yep.
Maybe he could just have like as an adult he has like this little hover pod, or would that be just would he just look like a kind of an idiot with like a little Mandalorian helmet and a little mini dark saber, and he's floating around in like a hover pod?
I don't know. That's a lot. I'm glad I don't have to write him. I don't have to write this character. That would be too much.
I think Filoni will figure it out someday.
Yeah.
He'll either figure it out or do something like really fucking weird.
That's kind of like what I was thinking about the IG-12 thing, as it was like Iron Man, and like Jon Favreau was like Iron Man. So I was a little bit like,
You know what would have been cool is if at some point we did see Pav Vizsla with his helmet off, and they just had like Jon Favreau like in the suit for that shot.
Yeah.
Because I always picture Jon Favreau in the Pav Vizsla
as
suit.
every Vizsla, honestly.
Yeah.
Well, any final thoughts on Mandalorian overall as a series, or for season 3?
I don't think season 3 was as good as seasons 1 and 2. There were a couple of like little awkward things in it, but so far, like I said, this is my favorite live action Star Wars show that we've watched, other than Andor, which like is one of the most perfect things I've ever seen. Sorry if people are tired of me just heaping tons and tons of praise on Andor, but I like, for us, like one of my most favorite TV shows ever made. I fucking love it. Like I feel like I got like the perfect Star Wars show ever for me. So but yeah, like I liked that, and then like next to that I like the first 2 seasons of The Mandalorian, and then next is like right here, Mandalorian season 3.
Yeah.
One thing I didn't mention though is I think it's R5D4, but R5 is a funny character to me. He's shown up in The Mandalorian previously, but the droid that Luke and Uncle Owen almost bought, but he had a bad motivator that exploded. Pelly had mentioned that he had served in the rebellion, and that's how Carson was able to track down the Mandalorians and ruin their coven or their covert hiding place. So, but I don't know what the fuck R4 was doing in the rebellion. Like, did he like leave Tatooine and then come back? But I liked him doing like the R2D2 type stuff when he's opening the doors for the Mandalorian, when he's like going through like those different doors, and then like the fight with the mouse droids. I liked
Yeah.
the R4 stuff.
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah, I like it not being R2D2 also. Yeah, it doesn't have to be R2D2 and C3PO in every single Star Wars thing. Like I love Chopper being in Rebels. I love R4 being a part of this show.
Mm-hmm.
Every show kind of needs its cute little droid, or like even Maul had that spy bot droid. That's kind of a goofy thing, but it's like even like a bad guy villain show still has to have like a cute droid. So, but yeah, I guess that does it for Mando season 3. Do you have any final thoughts?
No, I am hoping kind of that the movie is the end of the Mandalorian. I don't think that they need to beat a dead horse.
I saw a headline that said something like, "The Mandalorian and Grogu stars are optimistic for a possible sequel," but that could have just been like big clickbait. Who knows?
Yeah. But yeah, so next time we'll be talking about Ahsoka season 1. And hopefully the next time we'll be talking about Skeleton Crew, but that we may or may not end up having time for. That might have to be after the film, but we'll still cover it because we haven't seen it. So that'll be a good, fun ending.
Then we will have seen everything, all the TV shows.
Except for the Resistance show.
Oh, yeah. So we'll get to that at some point later this year, I think. But yeah, so exciting times, though. I'm really hyped to rewatch Ahsoka. Taylor, if you're down, I'll go watch the first episode of Ahsoka with you right now.
Okay.
So we're gonna go do that, but y'all have a good time, and until next time, remember, the Empire is for bootlickers. Be a rebel, and may the Force be with you.